bros? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, we finally got the dump that we've been waiting for. Just like how we talked in the pre-market that, once that CPI comes out, if it actually comes out good, the market should dump off as there's a rotation into the IWM, and we are seeing that as we speak. And so we are finally starting the pullback today. We're down 2% today and just dusted across the board and all types of big tech. This is your classic. What I want to talk to you guys about today is the sell the news play. So we had an awesome day in the chat room. And, one of the things that we were talking about, even on YouTube, was that if the CPI beats and it surprises, the market should sell off. And a lot of times that's counterintuitive because you're thinking, well, the CPI came in better before the market was ramping. But before the market was ramping, when the CPI would come in at expectations or better because you were at the lower end of the cycle. When you're at the higher end of the cycle, it becomes your classic news, sell the news play. And due to the fact that we had already run up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days into the CPI, no matter what it came at, the market was going to fall off the table. And, we had a gap up. If you look at the pre-market action, we had a decent little gap up right when it came out. And then the selling came in as people are starting to take profits, because then you're going to get the candle completely outside the upper Bollinger Band. And that's your surefire signal that it's a sell. And then when you couple this with, the IWM having this big break, then the money is starting to shift into other things. And so we had this just bang out day in the chat room. And I want to talk to you about a little strategy that we use, which is called a rubber band short. And, we were doing this on Tesla and NVIDIA today, all these kind of plays, and Tesla, dude, just crushed it on this thing. And we started shorting this thing, first thing in the morning. And man, it took a little bit of time to really get this thing going. But boy, when it finally works, the bottom drops off. And that's the thing with these big runs when they get extended like this. A rubber band short, just like the market was a rubber band short, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days in a row, it just takes the smallest little kindle, some spark to shove these stocks down, to shove the market down. And so, we took down Tesla and NVIDIA and a bunch of these in the chat room today. But I think this Tesla is a really good trade and something to look deeply at, because what you can do is use options to really nail down a big elongated gain. So, even if the market just drops or the stock drops 6%, the options are going to move 200, 300, 400, 500% as you start to go. And so what we have here is I took the 247.50 puts and the 255. So why I chose the 247s is the 9 EMA is at 242. And that's a natural target for this type of move. And so what we want to be doing is when the rollover starts, you want to really start leveling into these things. And so what you can see here on Tesla is that while the QQQ was getting nailed, Tesla actually had this spike up. And that's like your kind of surefire sign that it's going to play a little bit of catch up. Because when you look at all the other tech stocks, they started getting dusted the first candle. And we were taking NVIDIA on these bear flags. They started getting dusted this first candle. So what happens is on Tesla, when you break under the 9 EMA, you want to start shorting it and use this high of day as your potential stop loss. And then it's just about trading around the position. So as you start flushing in, you want to take some off the table and then start hitting these things into the pops. And so, I covered into this, and then we start reloading as we start going in. And now you want to be hitting every single one of these bear flags. And that's where you really want to go with this. Sorry, I got my kid in the background here. He's cuckooing. So what we want to be doing is okay, so you got the first crack, right? And now these are just lower highs. And so what happens is with Tesla, it's been bouncing like crazy off these supports. And so when you get this, it sucks in all the buyers, but it's most likely going to get rugged because of what the market is actually doing. And so what we want to be doing is looking for positions to add as we see it. And then the telltale sign is the previous day's low. Anytime you break the previous day's low, that's when the waterfall starts to happen. And so, as we start going into this, it's just a matter of kind of scaling in and out of these things and then looking for positions to add. So there's not an easy, happy-go-lucky position. You have one here and then you have one on the break of the open. And then, of course, where you really want to start adding is when you get a tight bear flag. See, these tight bear flags are the easiest entries to come in and really get this. So as you pop down and you go sideways, when the 9 EMA gets this tight, dude, that's when you load the boat. Because now you have no risk. We haven't had a very low risk entry in Tesla with the 9 EMA doing that in all these setups, right? But finally, we got the curls for the girls coming down. And so when that happens, I am reloading all of these, right? And so, we start coming in and reshorting 261. I want to add a full lot and then just cover all the way down, every couple bucks. You want to kind of keep taking some off the table. And so, in essence, it took 5 or 6 adds into the pops while covering into the flushes. And then what you want to do is when you get the surefire setup, you go in full boat with another full-size position, and you move the stop loss to all of the shares down over here, and now you get into something. Now, I did make a mistake in that I covered into the 248 into this wick, because usually when you get this kind of extension wick, you often get a big bounce. And so we'll see what happens with Tesla the rest of the day. Of course, we did get a little bit lucky. They did have some news out, too, that they were going to stop the robo-taxis till October. My guess is it would have dumped similar no matter what. If you look at what NVIDIA was doing, right down 5% and, so on and so forth, it was going to dump regardless. But this was, also like a nice just kind of kick in the pants. And so let's see what happens with the market the rest of the time. But guys, what you really want to do is when you see these hot setups, man, get the puts on these things. And really, you can go a little bit out because it's only Thursday. You can go a little bit out on a high ranging day. Don't do it on a regular day. But because there was CPI today and the QQQs already had big range, the ATRs will expand. And so you can go farther out. My average on those 247 puts were like 65, 70 cents, something along that end. And I was adding and sashaying around before I really put the mustard on it. And that's how you're going to take something and elongate it. A lot of times people that trade small accounts and stuff like that, they always dive into the penny stocks. But this is it's such a better way to go about. This is such a better way to go about it. I mean, look at this. You didn't even really have to trade Tesla. We could have just traded the QQQs and probably made just as, even better gain. If we're taking even the QQQ puts, if you go in here, dude, you're taking the 502s, right, on the ORB, you actually would have made even more money than even trading Tesla. So don't be afraid to even hit the indexes on this. Guys, hopefully that helps, and just a little primer on options. Let me know if you have any questions. I love you guys. Peace.